The year is 66 CE. The Roman Empire, vast and mighty, faces rebellion in Judea. Tensions had been simmering for years. The Jewish people under the rule of Rome yearned for freedom. They resented Roman taxes and the suppression of their faith. When a series of Roman provocations ignited the flames of revolt, the First Jewish-Roman War erupted. The rebellion initially caught Rome off guard. Jewish rebels, fueled by righteous anger and a desperate hope for independence, scored early victories. They drove Roman forces from Jerusalem, establishing their own control over the holy city. The rebellion spread like wildfire, igniting Jewish communities across the region. Rome, however, would not tolerate such defiance. The empire dispatched legions to crush the uprising. Led by experienced generals, Roman forces marched through Judea, determined to make an example of the rebels. They laid siege to cities, crushing resistance with brutal efficiency. The rebellion, though fierce, was ultimately doomed against the might of Rome. One by one, Jewish strongholds fell. Yet high atop a remote plateau in the Judean desert, a fortress named Masada stood defiant. Masada. The name itself evokes images of defiance, of last stands against insurmountable odds. Located on a desolate plateau overlooking the Dead Sea, Masada was a place of natural strength. Sheer cliffs on all sides made it nearly impregnable to attack. Only a single narrow path, known as the Snake Path, offered access to the summit. The fortress was not always a symbol of resistance. It was originally built by Herod the Great, the Roman-appointed king of Judea. Herod, a paranoid ruler known for his ruthlessness, constructed Masada as a refuge for himself. He feared both his own people and potential rivals within the Roman court. The fortress, with its thick walls, storehouses, and even a luxurious palace, was designed to withstand a lengthy siege. Ironically, the very fortress Herod built to protect himself would become a symbol of resistance against Roman rule. After the outbreak of the First Jewish-Roman War, a group of Jewish rebels known as the Sicarii, led by Eleazar ben Yair, captured Masada. They expelled the Roman garrison and fortified the already formidable defenses. With Rome tightening its grip on Judea, Masada became a beacon of hope, a last refuge for the rebels. News of Masada's defiance reached the ears of the Roman Emperor Vespasian. He dispatched his most capable general, Lucius Flavius Silva, to deal with the troublesome fortress. Silva, a veteran commander known for his strategic brilliance, arrived at the foot of Masada in 73 CE with the formidable 10th Legion. The sight that greeted him was daunting. Masada, perched atop its plateau, seemed almost to mock the Roman legions. The fortress, well supplied and defended by nearly 1,000 men, women and children, was a formidable challenge. Silva, however, was not a man easily deterred. He surveyed the fortress, calculating his options. Direct assault was impossible. The cliffs were too steep, the defenses too strong. Silva knew he would have to starve the defenders out. The Romans began constructing a massive siege wall, known as a circumvallation, around the base of Masada. This wall, stretching for miles, would prevent any escape and cut off any hope of resupply. With the fortress isolated, Silva turned his attention to the task of breaching its defenses. He chose to focus his efforts on the western side of the plateau, constructing a massive siege ramp. The construction of the siege ramp was a monumental undertaking. Roman legionaries, under the watchful eyes of their centurions, labored tirelessly. They hauled earth, stone and timber up the slopes of the plateau. The work was grueling, the sun unforgiving. Yet, the Roman war machine, driven by discipline and a thirst for victory, continued relentlessly. Week after week, the ramp grew steadily higher. The defenders of Masada were not idle. They harassed the Roman work parties with arrows and stones, attempting to slow the inevitable. They even constructed a counter-ramp, attempting to burn the Roman siege works. Their efforts, while valiant, were ultimately in vain. The Romans, with their superior numbers and resources, pressed on. Finally, after months of relentless labor, the siege ramp reached the top of the plateau. Atop the ramp, the Romans constructed a massive siege tower, taller than Masada's walls. This tower housed a battering ram, capable of smashing through the fortress's defenses. The end, it seemed, was near for the defenders of Masada. Inside the fortress, the mood was grim. The defenders had watched with growing dread as the Roman siege ramp inched closer. They knew that time was running out. Their supplies, while still sufficient for the moment, would not last forever. The Romans had effectively cut them off from the outside world. Eleazar ben Yair, the Sicarii leader, rallied his people. He reminded them of the atrocities committed by the Romans. He spoke of the importance of dying as free men and women, rather than living as slaves under Roman rule. His words resonated with the defenders, who were determined to fight to the death. As the Roman siege engine approached the walls, the defenders prepared for the final assault. They knew that they were facing overwhelming odds. Yet they were determined to sell their lives dearly. They would fight for every inch of their fortress, for every breath in their bodies. The stage was set for a final, desperate confrontation.